It's August, and that means a couple of things. It's hot and humid in the nation's capital. Legislators are going home for the August recess, and MOAA is about to embark on the Summer Advocacy and Action campaign. Here to talk more about that is our MOAA CEO and President, Lieutenant General Kelly. Hey, sir.
Hey, Jen. Thanks for having me back on.
Let's just quick overview. What are our three big issues that we're going to be pushing for this?
Yeah, first, like you said, summer is not a rest period. Summer is a time for action, right? And so MOAA's got three priorities that we're going to be asking folks to work in the summer. The first one's one we've been after for a long time, and we continue to be after with our community mates, which is the Richard Starr Act, trying to help those who are combat injured make sure they get all of their benefits. Another one is something that we always work on, which is how do we get better health care access for key areas and key places, one of our top priorities at MOAA. And the last one I know is one that's near and dear to your heart, right, which is the Work Opportunity Tax Credit. How do we help make sure our spouses, which are so vital to readiness, be able to make them keep their employment?
Yeah, so let's break down each one really quickly. The Major Richard Starr Act, what is the path forward? This has been around for a long time. It's got huge support in Congress in both chambers, yet it hasn't moved.
Yeah, like you said, it's been a number of years. The whole community, MOAA included, right, have been pushing for the Richard Starr Act. And what we see this time is there's lots of good bipartisan support again. There's lots of folks in both the House and Senate who've signed on, but there's an opportunity this time to try to get it into the National Defense Authorization Act, right? We've talked about this before, but 54,000 combat injured veterans who get medically retired early, who get decremented. They don't get to get their full benefits and where they're at, right? And there's this opportunity now with momentum building to try to get it into the NDAA.
The other things in the healthcare area that you mentioned are trying to improve care for those who are service members or family members. One is the Total Care Act, and that would just make sure that military spouses and service members who needed OBGYN care don't need to go through their PCM for referral. And the other one is just making pregnancy a qualifying life event, allowing a little more flexibility, changing between TRICARE Prime and TRICARE Standard. That sounds like a lot, and it sounds very niche, but how does that impact readiness?
Quality of life and healthcare is readiness. It's about readiness, right? When you have a family who is trying to take care of their children or trying to take care of their spouse, the military member needs to be able to focus on their job, and they can't do that if they can't get health care for their dependents. And so having these access issues opened up, making sure that they can get access, even if they're in these niche cases, really makes a readiness difference. It makes a difference in retention. Folks retain in the military when they know they can take care of their families. And so we at MOAA have been on these kinds of things for a long time and continue to push for better access in all these different areas for health care.
And the good news for these issues is they're included in the base text of the National Defense Authorization Act. So we're very hopeful, but we still need our members to contact their lawmakers and say, hey, this is important to us and we need it in there.
Absolutely. That's how we get our power, is from our grassroots advocates, our MOAA members out in the states, calling and contacting their members and making sure that they know that they care about these issues. That's where the power for MOAA comes from.
Yeah, and last but not least, let's talk about my favorite one, the Military Spouse Hiring Act. This is a non-NDAA issue because it's a tax provision, but what we're really seeing is that there's still momentum in the tax space. There's a few different tax credits expiring at the end of this year, WOTC, or the Work Opportunity Tax Credit being one of them, and we're very hopeful there will be an extender package, and at the same time you're extending something, why wouldn't you amend it to add this group?
Yeah, and as I've said to you many times, you and I have this conversation, we love spouses. Like my wife was a military spouse for a long time, but this is more than just about the spouse, right? It's really important for us to take care of those spouses, but this is ultimately about readiness. This means that if those spouses stay employed, if the need to be able to have a dual income household is there, they can stay in the military, they can be retained, and when they're retained, our readiness goes up, right? And so the Work Opportunity Tax Credit is a really easy way from a financial standpoint, because the employers are going to get that benefit only when they hire somebody, right, to take care of this. And so if there's a way for us to get this into the tax code and get it added in there, what a boost for readiness for our military, what a boost for our families, and what a boost for retention for our military as well.
And hopefully supports the transition. Once that service member becomes a veteran, that transition gets doubly hard if both parties are unemployed. So let's have a spouse with a stable income that can provide a little bit more of a support for that.
Yeah, we know it's a continuum, right? We know the whole thing is an ecosystem. From the time you raise your hand and volunteer all the way until you get a VA headstone, all of that matters, right? And so that transition period is really important. for making sure people have the right experience. So that dual income couple who both get jobs and make a good transition, they're both going to tell the next people they see that they ought to join the military, right? And there's goodness in that as well.
Yeah. And we know that our members are moving the needle. We've seen the Military Spouse Hiring Act, which was one of our advocacy and action priorities back in the springtime, jump all the way up to 82 co-sponsors in the House and 27 in the Senate. That's not possible without our members. So how can our members engage in the summer advocacy and action?
Our members can go to our Legislative Action Center, and we're going to put a link up here on the screen for you, and they can register and they can weigh in on these issues. They can lend their voice, their grassroots voice out there to each of these issues and make a difference. Their lawmakers want to hear from them, and the power of MOAA comes from you. So go to the Legislative Action Center, register, and engage.
And make sure you take advantage of the August recess when your lawmakers are back in their home district. You can actually set up a meeting in the district office. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we will see you next week.